Meet Chloe Smith, Britain's newest and, at 27, youngest MP. The first elected directly as a result of Parliament's expenses row. The first, perhaps, of many. Miss Smith, a management consultant and Conservative official, took a 5,000 Labour majority here in Norwich North and made it her own, and some.
Chloe Rebecca Smith, the Conservative Party candidate, 13,591.
The people of Norwich North have rejected the old politics of personal attacks, of bickering, of smears and scare stories. They voted for change, and in doing so they have sent a message to Gordon Brown very loud and very clear.
For Labour, a poor result after a low-key campaign focused on attacking possible Tory spending cuts. Their London-based candidate stopped campaigning a few days ago after he fell ill with swine flu. Today his wife stood in his stead.
I can't begin to tell you how devastated Chris is at not being able to be here and being literally struck down.
In all, around 14,000 people who voted Labour in 2005 chose not to do so again. Most simply staying at home, angry with their government and their politics.
Well, this is clearly a disappointing result, but I think when people look at this constituency and what was happening, the voters were clearly torn between their anger and dismay at what has been happening over MPs' expenses, something that we're trying to clean up, and at the same time the support for the former MP, the Labour MP Ian Gibson, who was very popular.
Mr Gibson was deselected by Labour for using parliamentary expenses to fund a flat he sold cheaply to his daughter, but many voters thought their independent-minded MP had been treated roughly by Labour and voted accordingly. As for the minority parties, well, they picked up some support, but none became the party of choice for voters angry with Westminster politics. Norwich North was 162nd on David Cameron's target list and thus a seat he had to win. He campaigned 6 times, threw money and resources at the constituency, and it paid off. As for Labour,
I have seen a Labour campaign in this by-election that I would describe, and I choose my words carefully, as utterly despicable. If you look at what they said about us, it was untruth after untruth.
For their part, the Tories promised transparency and honesty. And the voters liked what they heard. This election mattered not just because the Conservatives won in a contest they simply couldn't afford to lose, but because it showed that voters are now very unwilling to listen to pretty much anything Labour has to say, whether it's about possible Conservative spending cuts or about the behaviour of Ian Gibson and his alleged abuse of public funds. For Gordon Brown, much food for thought. James Landell, BBC News, in Norwich North.